Very good afternoon to all. Uh, so, without wasting much time, let us go further. So, in the first two classes or first two sessions, we have completed block one and block two. Today, we will start the block three. So, this block is about the learning environment, and here we will learn about different kind of environments, how these environments affect the process of learning, and four units are here, that is from unit 8 to unit 11. So today we will talk about only two units, as I'm going to take the class for 1 hour only because of some work urgency. So in this 1 hour we will discuss about the first two units of this block, that is unit 8 and unit 9. So, learning environment. So, what does it mean? It means the environment where we learn, or where different situations are created. And by encountering those situations in those environment, we are able to learn. So, environment means our surrounding actually, and that environment affects our lifestyle directly or indirectly, and those environment actually create different kind of situation, maybe naturally, maybe artificially, and by encountering those situation we get experience, and we apply those experience in our real life situations to solve different kind of problems, and then we able to learn. So there is a direct impact of environment in the process of learning. So talking about the learning environment, we can divide all learning environments into two groups or two categories. That some are known as natural environment, whereas some are man-made or artificial environment, and both have influence in the process of learning. They provide situations to learn, and in these blocks, we are going to talk about some of the important environments which affect the process of learning. So I'm sharing my screen so that we will learn better. Okay, students, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let us go for the unit number 8. So this is about the meaning and scope of learning environment. Just a minute. So this unit is about the meaning and scope of environment, learning environment. And now question arises, what is actually learning environment? So learning environment implies the situation or the conditions in which we learn. The circumstances, the situations, the condition which facilitates the learning process. We call it learning environment. And the learning environment is actually a composite of natural conditions and circumstances, and it also includes socio-cultural context and influences, and also some physical spaces and uh, just a minute. Okay, students, sorry for disturbance. So we are talking about the learning environment, and the learning environment actually is a composite of different things. That is, just a minute, it's getting some kind of problems. Okay, learners, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So a learning environment is actually a composite of different things, and we can divide these things or divide learning environment basing upon the natural condition and circumstances. That also a part of learning environment. Second thing, also our society and our culture. We can say it, our socio-cultural context also constitute our learning environment, and it has also a deep impact in the learning process. Also, some physical spaces and resources, they also are regarded as a part of learning environment. Physical spaces means they may be our school, colleges, universities, and resources. That means from where we learn, those resources are also a part of learning environment. And also some psychological dynamics between the learners and the educator. That is also one part of learning environment. That means how student and teacher interact with each other, how they exchange information, share knowledge. That is also a part of learning environment. So these are the different parts, namely natural conditions, second one socio-cultural context, third one physical spaces or resources, and fourth one is psychological dynamics, and it has also a deep impact on the process of learning. So learning environment is actually operates in a dynamic fashion throughout the life that influence how we process and internalize the information. So as we know, learning is a dynamic process, and learning environments actually operates dynamically throughout our life. In every situation, in every stage of our life, we find different kind of learning environment. They have a deep impact on our learning process. We encounter the situations, we come across the stimulus of those situations, and we gain experience. Then those experiences are applied in our daily life, and to find the solutions of the problem, and we learn. That means our behaviors are changed. So we can say in single word, a learning environment is that environment which helps us to grow, which helps us in the process of growth and development, which helps us in our modification of behavior. So that is the meaning of learning environment. And talking about the learning environment from different view, from different schools of psychology. So talking about the behavioristic perspective, and according to behavioristic psychology, learning environment can be manipulated, can be changed as per our situation to achieve the preceding learning outcomes through reinforcement and conditioning. That is the view of behavioristic psychology. So they have mentioned that, they have said that learning environment is that environment where we learn different kind of things by manipulating the situation, by manipulating the conditions, and what we have planned to learn from that situation can be achieved by manipulating the environment. That is the point of behavioristic psychology. Then talking about the cognitive view, cognitive psychologists, they have mentioned that learners must have to actively participate in the process of learning by encountering or by manipulating the environmental stimuli. And learning is actually the consequences of interaction between the learner and the environment. So learner will learn better if they able to manipulate the situation or manipulate the environment. So as we know, in environment there are different kind of resources, and students can gain knowledge. Student can gain knowledge. Students will get information. Students will get knowledge. Students will get knowledge only by by making relation with the stimulus and the response, and they can learn various kind of things if they explore the environment that will help in their cognitive developmental process. Then talking about the social constructivist view, from social constructivist view, they have mentioned that society is everything, our environment is everything, and we learn only by interacting in the society, interacting with the different members of the society. And social and cultural, these are two important variables which affect the process of learning, and children get mastery over learning if they interact properly with the society, with the culture. So that is the viewpoint of a social constructivist or social psychologist. So these are the different views, and these views actually describe about the learning environment according to their own research, own experiment. They have mentioned about learning environment and how it affects the process of learning, and how students can get maximum learning or maximum benefit from the environment. Okay. Then, as I have mentioned, all learning environments can be divided in under two groups. One is what we call natural environment. Second one is called man-made environment. So let us talk about some of the important learning environments which affect the process of learning. So in the first, it comes the school. It is a formal educational institution. Family is actually the first learning environment in which students learn different kind of behavior, different kind of attitude, and also learn different skills. But when we talk about the formal educational institution, school comes first. So school is called a miniature society. It affects the process of learning, as we all know that. So it is called a miniature society because the reflection of the society we can find in a school. For various reasons, it is called a miniature society. Miniature society means a small society where the practices of the society are reflected. That's why it is called a miniature society. And from different point of view, we can call it a miniature society. First one, here we will find the diverse membership. Diverse membership means students and teachers. They come from different background. They may have different caste, class, religions, linguistic groups. Okay, so that kind of things also we find in society. From that point of view, it is called a miniature society, or simply we can say we can find a heterogeneous environment in a school. Second point, for which we call it a small society, that here the children get the dual societal membership. Dual societal membership means children must navigate between their local community's identity and also their school identity. Two type of identity they find. ଯେମିତି ଆମେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି, as a Indian, we also find dual citizenship. That means we are the citizen of India and also we are the citizen of our state. Similarly, the students of a school, they find dual membership. That's why it is called a society. Then another thing is a school is a cultural capital. That means here we will find different kind of culture, and they often reproduce the dominant culture, and potentially advantaging children whose family culture capital aligns with the school expectation. Those students, if they belong to a particular community or particular religion, and if the school advocates about that religion, those students actually get a benefit. Okay, so from that point of view, it is called a miniature society. Then let us talk about different aspects of school which affect the process of learning. First one, the teaching style of a teacher affect the learning process. It affects the behavior of the learners. Teachers, as we know, they are the role model for the students, and teachers character, teachers behavior, teachers attitude, teachers determinism all affect the process of learning, and teachers teaching style also affect the process of learning. So if we talk about the teaching style, there are varieties of teaching style we find. First one is what we call the authoritative style, authoritative teaching style, in which teachers actually play a very dominant role. The role they play is just like the authority. They give instruction, and they play active role. Students remain in passive state. They are not given any opportunities for self-expression. So it is actually the oldest type of teaching, and where a teacher was all in all in the teaching learning process. Then second type of teaching learning process is what we call permissive teaching style. Permissive teaching style, that means here the teaching style or the teaching process simply goes on by the process by following the principle of democracy. Students and teachers both actively participate in the process of teaching and learning. Students are given opportunities. They share their information, they share knowledge, share experience, they express their feelings. Teachers also consider their feeling, and teaching learning process simply goes on by the process of mutual interaction. That is democratic, or what we call permissive. Then third type of teaching style is what we call nowadays, it is getting very popular, that is laissez-faire type. Okay, laissez-faire type means jota permissive style also, that is also known as laissez-faire type. Okay, so in laissez-faire type, what happens, it is actually totally student centric. Here students play a very dominant role in the process of teaching and learning, and the role of teacher is to provide only the situations. That means here the role of teacher is to set the stage, is to facilitate the learner and to motivate the learner. That is permissive style. ଆଉ जोटा मु कहूଥିଲି authoritative, जोटा democratic, जोटा कि समय आगु कहूଥିଲି, जोटा teaching and learning process simply goes on by the following the democratic principle. So these are the different types of teaching style. So these teaching styles also affect the process of teaching and learning. Okay, it affects the, actually you can say students learn better when they are given more opportunities. Sometimes what happened, if the teacher exhibit the authoritarian rule and follows the strict rule, punishes the students, then student may not find that kind of opportunities to express their feelings and emotions. In that case, the learning process goes slow down. But when the teacher is permissive or follows the laissez-faire type of teaching style, then the students learn better as they find opportunities for self-expression. Then another aspect of teaching or teacher's behavior, that is self-fulfilling prophecy. That is also another significant feature of a teacher. Teacher's expectation actually significantly influence the learning process or students' performance. And students tend to show intellectual gains when teachers expect them to do well. So teachers' expectations should be as per the level of the students. What we call self-fulfilling prophecy. Second one, students perform poorly when teachers have low expectation. Okay, and teachers may negatively perceive a student who succeed despite low expectation. So these are prophecy what we call. Sometimes as a teacher, we have high expectation from some students, and we have low expectation from some students. So that expectation actually affect the process of learning, affect the process performance of the student. Okay, so prophecy should be determined as per the level of the student. That is one of the important factors. And another important factor is students' characteristics. So teachers' perception and behavior vary based on students' characteristics. So teachers tend to favor students who conform to their class values. And teacher may have lower expectation for students who from lower socio-economic backgrounds. So these kind of characteristics, that means teachers expectation. Okay, that is also one of the important factor in the learning process. Our teacher को perception regarding the student, माने को प्रकार रो पिला से को माने कर भलो background रो आसे पिला टे, तेणु teacher को expectation will be more from them. If a student comes from low socio-economic status, expectation of the teacher from that student may be low. So that affect the process of learning. तेणु हमें कहिबा teacher's behavior plays a very crucial role in the process of learning of students. Then Another important factor that comes under school environment, that is peer group influence. Also, students learn from their group, no, from their peer, from their classmates. So peer group from a critical, it is a one of the critical component of the school learning environment. It influences individual students' experience in multiple ways. Keମିତି students initially from group based on shared values and identities. ତେଣୁ ଆମେ ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ସେମ୍ କାଇଣ୍ଡ ଅଫ୍ ବାର୍ଡସ୍ ଫ୍ଲକ୍ ଟୁଗେଦର ବୋଲି ଆମେ ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି ନୁହଁ ତେଣୁ ଷ୍ଟୁଡେଣ୍ଟସ୍ ହୁ ହାଭ୍ ସେମ୍ opinion, same belief, same philosophy, they form a group, so that affects their learning pattern. Second thing, subgroups later form based on the demonstrated abilities in various areas, and also the majority group often emerges as the dominant group establishing the social norms. Then individual students perceive the environment as a friendly or hostile based on their acceptance by the dominant group, and bullying and aggressive behavior can significantly disrupt the psychological learning environment for a targeted student. Okay, so these are from various point of view, we can say there is a great impact of group or what we call peer group on the learning process of the students. Okay, so basically we can say ଯେମିତି ଆମେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି କଣ ନା ବେଳେ ବେଳେ କଣ ହୁଏ ନା ପିଲାମାନେ କଣ କରନ୍ତି ନା ବହୁତ କଥା ତାଙ୍କ ଗ୍ରୁପ ରୁ ଶିଖି ଯାଆନ୍ତି, ସାଙ୍ଗମାନଙ୍କ ଠାରୁ ବହୁତ କଥା ଶିଖି ଯାଆନ୍ତି, ତେଣୁ ତାକୁ ଆମେ ଗ୍ରୁପ ଡାଇନାମିଜିମ୍ ବୋଲି କହନ୍ତି। ଆଉ ବଡ କଥା ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ ଆମେ ଯଦି if we analyze the research, different research say that students learn better if they are taught in a group rather than individual, because in a group there are varieties of students with different experience, different background, different knowledge, different information. When they share all these things with their peers or friends, what happens? They learn in a better way. And another important thing, what they can't share with the teacher, they can share with their friends. Okay, that affects their learning process. ତେଣୁ peer group ର influence ମଧ୍ୟ important ଜିନିଷ ରହିଛି। ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ପିଲେ ଯଦି ଆମେ ଦେଖିବା different types of learning preference are there, ଆମେ କାଲି ଏଇ ଜିନିଷଟାକୁ discussion ମଧ୍ୟ କରୁଥିଲେ, ମନେ ପକାଉ ଟିକେ। Students also prefer different kind of learning environment. Some students, as we have mentioned, they learn better when they see different kind of things, whom we call the visual learners. କାଲି ଏ କଥା ଆମେ discussion କରୁଥିଲେ। Visual learners, they prefer environment where they can see different kind of things, different kind of word images to process their information effectively, and they learn better if they see so many kind of things. And talking about auditory learners, this kind of learners, they prefer learning situation where they can listen and talk to others, they can hear themselves. Okay, so when ଯେତେବେଳେ କଥାବାର୍ତ୍ତା ହେବ, ଯେତେବେଳେ ଅଧିକା ଜିନିଷ ସେମାନେ ଶୁଣିବେ, those kind of situation will create a good impression on them and they learn in a better way. So we call them auditory learner. ସେଇଭଳି field dependent ଆଉ ଯୋଉଟାକୁ ଆମେ କହୁଥିଲେ field independent, କାଲି କଥା ଯୋଉ discussion କରୁଥିଲେ, plus reflectivity versus impulsivity, and tactile kinesthetic learner. So as per their preference they learn better. So if they find their preference learning style, they learn better. ତେଣୁ ଏ ଭିତରେ କୋଉଟା ମାନେ further discussion ଆବଶ୍ୟକ ହଉଛି ଯଦି କହିଲେ ମୁଁ କହିବି, already we have discussed these things, so I think no need to discuss these things again. ଟିକେ respond କରିବ if you want the further discussion. Preferred learning style, ଟିକେ respond କରିବ। Hello
No,
dear
sir.
learners. Okay, these things we have talked already. So যদি স্কুল রে ତାଙ୍କର preference style ର ଗୋଟେ learning environment ସେମାନେ ପାଇଗଲେ, they will learn better, they will show interest, they will be motivated, and they will be more engaged, and the result will find in increase in their learning process. So preferred learning style, learning environment is one of the important part. Then physical environment of the class or school, that also affect the process of learning. Physical environment means the physical environment consists of different factor, different dimension. If basic infrastructures are available in the class. Basic infrastructure mane adequate number of classroom, jo jinsa guda amar darkar, student teacher ratio should be properly maintained, and other adequate things maybe in modern time we need smart board or other technologies. Those things are included in basic structure. So physical environment affect the process of learning. Then learning resources is another important thing which can be included in physical learning environment. That may be sitting provision, teaching learning materials, blackboard, laboratories, libraries, computer lab, ICT materials. Those things are learning resources. They also affect the process of learning. So private schools manku ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ପିଲାମାନେ କାହିଁକି ବେଶୀ ପସନ୍ଦ କରୁଛନ୍ତି? Because of the facilities, because of the learning facilities. The facilities that they find there are not available in government colleges. That's why they are preferring those private institutions. That is the main reason. Then basic amenities they also need, that also affect the process of learning. Basic amenities means that may be the drinking water, that may be separate toilets for boys and girls, and other things. And also aesthetic appeal. Aesthetic appeal means some things which affect the process of learning. They may be a hygienic environment, aesthetic surrounding. Okay, that also provide a congenial atmosphere for learning. So these things are known as physical resources, or what we call physical facilities. If a school provides all these facilities, automatically students will find opportunities. They will be more engaged in the process of learning. They will be more interested. Okay, if basic facilities are available. Then this is about school. So it is one of the important factor in the process of learning. Then let us talk about another environment, what we call home environment and community environment. Home, as we know, is the first educational institution of a child, and here a child learns different kind of things. The home provides the first informal learning for a child, and where his socialization process starts, and the family or the home inculcates the cultural values and practices for learners for the first time, and his academic and cognition skill are also initially developed here. And different research actually show that if the home environment is congenial, then the learning process of the student is better. So congenial means good relationship among the different members of the society, and the basic needs of the child are fulfilled by the family. And the child also, if the child finds a learning environment, then that will facilitate his further learning process. And other things are also there which affect the process of learning. ଯେମିତି ଆମେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି number of books and learning materials, if provided by the home or family, then the child learn better. If parental recognition for academic achievement is there, students also learn better. Parents' expectation regarding the academic performance, that also affect the process of learning. Simply we can say, if family provides the basic needs, if family provides what we call recognition, if family provides what a child needs for the learning process, automatically the process of learning will be in the right path. Then second thing, another important factor is what we call community influence. After family, the most important factor of learning is community. Community means where the students live. It is also regarded as the society. The community's attitude and practices significantly affect the process of learning. Enculturation, acculturation, it is a social process of learning. Already we have mentioned in the first unit. Enculturation means what we know, that when we are acquainted with our own society, when we learn the beliefs, attitudes, practices of our own society, that is known as enculturation. And what the acculturation means, when two societies are combined, and when we learn the essence of these two society, two culture, that is known as enculturation. It is also a process of learning. Then gender attitude also affect the process of learning. Sometimes what happened, we find in some societies there is a discrimination among boys and girls. Okay, that affect the process of learning. So if both boys and girls do not find the same opportunities, what will happen? Students will be girl students will be discriminated. They will not find opportunities, so their learning process will be slowed down. So religious, next thing is religious practices which affect the educational practices, and the religion practices also influence the educational priorities. ଯେମିତି ଆମେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ସପୋଜ ଆମେ ମୁସଲିମ ଟାଇମ କଥା ଯେତେବେଳେ ଦେଖିବା ମିଡେଭାଲ ଟାଇମରେ କଣ ହଉଥିଲା ଦି ଏଜୁକେସନ ପ୍ରୋସେସ ୱାଜ ଡିପଲି ଇନଫ୍ଲୁଏନ୍ସଡ ବାଇ ଦି ରିଲିଜିୟସ୍ ନୁହଁ କି ଯେମିତି ଆମର କୋରାନ ପାଠ କିମ୍ବା ଆମର ଅନ୍ୟ ସବୁ ଯାହା ସବୁ ରହିଛି ଇସଲାମିକ କଲଚରରେ ତାକୁ ବାଧ୍ୟତାମୂଳକ ସବୁ କରାଯାଇଥିଲା ସିମିଲାରଲି ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ଯିବା ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଆମର ବେଦିକ ସମାଜକୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଯିବା ଦି ଏଜୁକେସନ ଆଟ ଦ୍ୟାଟ ଟାଇମ ୱାଜ ଡିପଲି ଇନଫ୍ଲୁଏନ୍ସଡ ବାଇ ଦି ବେଦିକ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସେସ୍ ତେଣୁ ଯଜ୍ଞ ମନ୍ତ୍ର ଋଗ୍ବେଦ ଏଇ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡା ସବୁ ପଢା ଯାଉଥିଲା. Okay, so religion is another important factor which is related to the community. It affects the process of learning. Then another important thing is socio-economic status, socio-economic factor that determine the access to resources. If students belong to sound economical status, socio-economic status, they find different kind of opportunities, and their basic needs are fulfilled. Their learning process will be more in comparison to who belong to low socio-economic status. So community, home, they play a very significant role in the process of learning. Then talking about another important factor, it is known as mass media. It is an informal learning environment. So mass media means the media which influences a large section of the people at the same time, that is called mass media. So it has a deep impact in the process of learning. I mean, students learn better by the process of observation. Jodi ame Banduraଙ୍କ social theory देखिबा किंबा आमे जदि भाइजोस्किଙ୍କ social learning theory देखिबा तेणु आमे गोटे जिंस जानि परिबा students learn to imitate. They like to follow their model, and by following their model or by observation they learn so many things. Okay, then no need to teach them anything. I mean, jo kotha kahuchanti, what we have learned, we have not learned all these things from books. We have learned from media, different kind of media, by watching television, by watching, by listening radio, by reading print media, by the active member in the different social group, maybe in WhatsApp, or maybe by chatting with our friends. Okay, so many mass media are there which affect the process of learning. As we know, television, it is the most powerful visual media which impact the process of learning. And nowadays, as we know, some educational program are telecasted by the television, and the students watch them and they learn. Then another thing, radio, although the use of radio in modern time is minimal, still we can say some educational program can be broadcasted through radio, which affect the process of learning. Print media, it is the oldest media of learning, and print media means जोटा को हमें textbook कथा कहउचंती, it may be newspaper, it may be magazine. They also help in self-paced learning. Okay, and along with this, we can add some digital media. Maybe Facebook maybe different kind of groups. We learn from these groups, and they affect our learning style. So this is about the media. So this is about the first unit, what we have discussed in this unit. So first thing, we came to know the meaning of learning environment. Also came to know about the different kind of learning environment. Out of the learning environment, some are natural, whereas some are artificial, some are formal, some are informal. We have discussed about school. It is the first formal educational institution of a child. It is known as a miniature society. and it affects the learning process from various point of view: the teaching style of the teacher, the physical structure of the classroom, the facilities available in the classroom. All these things affect the process of learning. And also we have talked about the another informal educational institution, that is home, and also the society. Okay, then individual's perception and teacher's perception also affect the process of learning. Individual perception means we as learner gain experience from the environment from our own point of view, that is our own perception, and our learning style is affected by our perception. And teachers influence also affect the process of learning. If teachers expectations and behavior significantly shape the psychological environment, and that facilitate the process of learning. So this is all about this unit. If any doubt uh, in this unit, you can ask, otherwise we will proceed for the next unit. Any doubt on it? Learning environment, meaning and scope. Please respond. As I have mentioned, I don't have much time, so please respond quickly. If any doubt in it, you can ask.
No, sir. Next unit.
Okay, okay, very good. So let us go for the next unit. So the next unit is about brief explanation about some of the important learning environment. So in this regard, first we will talk about home and community. Already basic things are there in unit 8. So here we will go deep regarding the influence of different environment, some formal environment as well as some non-formal environment. Here we will talk about the responsibilities, feature and responsibilities, and what role they play in the process of learning. Okay, so let us first talk about home. So as we know, home is the first educational institution and mother is the first teacher of a child. No, the child's learning process is deeply affected by the environment of the home. The socio-emotional intellectual environment of the home determines to a great extent of the future course of learning and development. So as a child grows, their personal and social space actually expands. Okay, so a family actually introduces a child towards the society. So a family teaches so many things, maybe directly or maybe indirectly. So family influence is more in case of learning. So let us talk about the importance of family in in the early learning process of a child. So as we have mentioned that it is the first learning place for a child. So it is the home where a child experience their first lesson of life. ତେଣୁ ଯେମିତି ଆମେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ଚାଇଲ୍ଡ ର ସୋସିଆଲାଇଜେସନ ପ୍ରୋସେସ କେତେବେଳେ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହୁଏ? when a child borns. The child socialization process starts with the first kiss from his mother. Okay, so socialization process start, education process start from family, and a child gets informal learning from here. And a child engages in different kind of activities in a home, and through these activities one learns and one get different kind of experiences which help them in their later life. Okay, this is the first learning place. Then another important feature of a family, that here a child finds security and attachment. A sense of security is a basic prerequisite for to all development. ତେଣୁ ଯେମିତି ଆମେ ପଢୁଥିଲେ ଇରକିନସନଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ଷ୍ଟେଜେସ୍ କଥା ପଢୁଥିଲେ ମନେ ପକାଉ ଟିକେ। ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ଷ୍ଟେଜ ଆମେ କହୁଥିଲେ ଟ୍ରଷ୍ଟ ଆଉ ଟ୍ରଷ୍ଟ ଭର୍ସେସ ମିସଟ୍ରଷ୍ଟ। that means when a child finds security, when the basic needs for survival, if the basic need for survival if provided by the family or home, then the child develop trust. Okay, ତେଣୁ ଆମେ କହିପାରିବା ତାର security ଆଉ basic needs are to be fulfilled by the family, and the attachment a child gets with his parents and siblings that last for the lifetime and serve as a model for emotion relationship among the कौन कहली पिले the attachment of the child with the parents and with his brothers and sister that last for a lifetime and serve as a model for emotional relationship and learning exploration. So these things are basic thing we need for learning process, and these basic things we get from the family. And another important thing, a child learns different kind of social skills from the family. At home, a child learn how to respect family, how to be a social animal, and how to develop different kind of social qualities. ତେଣୁ ଆମେ ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି as man is a social animal, in order to be admitted by the society, a person need different kind of social skill. This social skill may be what we call forgiveness, appreciate to others, tolerance, collaboration, cooperation, and so many qualities are there, what we call social qualities. And these qualities are developed, the base of these qualities are developed from the family. Okay, so that's why a family is very important. Then ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ପିଲେ କଣ ହଉଛି developmental context in early life, how a family helps in development. The developing child continuously builds an early experience as they grow into the independent individuals. In early childhood, a child explores the physical world by playing through different kind of object, by manipulation, जोटा कमे sensory motor stage बोली कहतले as per the माने Piaget's cognitive theory एटी कौन होची. So that kind of environment is created in the home. The parents actually provide different kind of toys, different kind of objects, so that the child manipulates them, the child explores them and learns so many qualities, so many skills. Then second thing, the family also provide independence. Okay, and it provides autonomy to child to perform different kind of life skill. Initially they provide some kind of help, ଯେମିତି ଛୋଟ ଛୁଆ ମାନେ as they are unable to perform their daily duties, at that time they provide some kind of help. But when they gradually grown up, but some kind of independency are provided to them, and which help them to learn different kind of skill. Next thing, as they grow, they develop autonomy and eagerness to try new ideas. So family provide that kind of opportunities. And another important thing, different language they learn from family. And language development is the first step of cognitive development. And they learn different language by observation, by practicing, by making conversation with the different members of the society, which help in their development of the cognitive skill. And also from family they learn social and moral values. And when they approaches toward adolescence, they balance between externally imposed demands and internal choices, and that things they learn from family. And they struggle between independence and dependence, requiring both guidance and autonomy. So in this aspect they need the support and assistance from the family. So the early developmental context is deeply influenced by the environment of the family, and that facilitate the learning process, make an individual a social animal. Then another important thing, जोटा आमे पिले कहउतले टीचिंग स्टाइल जो कथा कहउतले, that is also discussed here. Three types of parenting styles are there which affects the process of learning. The first one, authoritarian style, जोथरे कौन हुए ना, when the parents so many authoritarian. Okay, that means they expect that their students will don't ask any kind of question. They will their children will accept anything, and parents are very strict. Okay, they don't allow their children to do anything by themselves. They don't provide freedom. Okay, they take all decision about the students. So that type of style is known as authoritarian style. If the parents are authoritative, what happened? Children tend to be hostile. Okay, so friendly environment they will not get. Then hostile meaning hochi kono, those environments which are not friendly. Okay, they are not accepted. They may feel frustrated. They may so less well adjusted in adolescence period. That is the effect of authoritarian style of parenting. and second type what we call permissive, जोटा को मुझे समय आगरो टीचर टीचिंग स्टाइल को बोली laissez-faire type. Laissez-faire type means children are given full freedom to take their own decision, and parents they avoid make demanding. Okay, they don't impose their control. So if that kind of environment will be provided to them, what happened, the students or the children will develop in a good manner, and a different kind of personality will develop in them. And the other hand, another type of parenting style is what we call democratic style. Democratic style means parents and children, they take decision by mutual interaction, and students or sorry children are given opportunities for participation in family decision, and they express their feelings, their emotions, they ask something for their children. What happened if the parenting style is democratic, children became lively, they became very happy, they feel self confident, they have self control, they have high esteem, they have good academic achievement. So research actually कहुची जेतबले हमरो parenting style ta democratic way re होउची, those students show better performance in their academic career, and their learning process is more in comparison to other style of parenting style. बेसी permissive हे गले कौन हुए, sometimes children may be distrayed, they may be they may go in a wrong path, wrong way, if there is no control of parents over the children. Okay, so democratic style research jete sabu kara hechi, research sabu कहउचंती कोन, permissive style is better for learning and development of the student. Okay, then community context and home environment. So early home, as we know, is important. Early congenial environment home is important. Then the next factor comes, that is what we call community. The tradition, custom and norms relationship prevalent in the community significantly affect the learning process of the child. Okay, so যদি আমি দেখিবা community কথা, we may have different kind of community, we may have urban setting, we may have rural setting, so those setting affect the process of learning. That is one of the important factor. Talking about the urban setting where students find better opportunities, and they have limited physical space for play and exercise, and the access to cultural expression, maybe music, theater, art, and they may have different pattern of relationship and social dynamics. So these things affect their growth and development and learning process. And the other hand, when we go for rural setting, what happened, they may not have that kind of opportunities, may direct experience with the nature, they may have different insight towards the life process, they may have fewer opportunities for intellectual challenges, they may have different styles and habit of learning. So the setting actually decide the process of learning. Similarly, जदि आमे पिले आ गोटे कथा कहबा, जदि आमे गोटे agrarian society देखिबा आ गोटे industrial society देखिबा, the learning process are different in these two type of society. No, agrarian society, they learn different kind of skill, their attitude are different, but when it comes to a industrial society, their attitude, their skill, their what we call interest towards job are different, and they learn as per their own environment. Okay, then let us talk about the socialization process. So socialization in different setting, and socialization means the process in which a child becomes a socialized person. That is known as socialization process. So that process starts from encounter between the child and adult around them, and that starts in family, and then it extends to community, and through interaction they learn different kind of things. So through the process of socialization, what happened, the children, they get the identity and enact role. That means through languages and play, children locate themselves in the world. They establish their own identity and they get experience about the world. They enhance their participation by accepting the role and function. Okay, they became the responsible member of the society. That is also a part of socialization process. And that starts at home. ଯେମିତି ମୁଁ କହିଲି ପରିବାରରୁ ଆରମ୍ଭ ହଉଛି, ତାପରେ extend ହେଇଥାଏ ସ୍କୁଲ, community, ଏଇ ମାଧ୍ୟମରେ କଣ ହୁଏ ତାଙ୍କର socialization process start ହେଇଥାଏ. Okay, they became socialized, they became the responsible member of the society. Then how କଣ ହୁଏ ପିଲେ through socialization process they develop different social classes. ଯେମିତି ଆମେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି middle class families often provide more resources and educative patterns of interaction, while poor families face limitations that affect the child's self-esteem and social skill that affect the learning process. So ଯୋଉ ଭଳି କ୍ଲାସ ରେ ସେମାନେ ଜନ୍ମ ହେଇଥାନ୍ତି, that class affect their learning process, their growth and development. Okay, ପୁରା ଯଦି higher class ରେ ଜନ୍ମ ହେଲେ they find all kind of opportunities, they find all kind of a learning environment. Okay, but when we talk about the students or children from poor family or low socioeconomic status, they don't find that kind of opportunities that affect their growth and development, that affect their socialization process, that affect their learning process. Tapare pile, another important thing of socialization process is adapt to cultural context. What happened? Socialization process differ across the cultural context, from simple to complex, rigid to flexible, shaping the child's style and capability to process information. So the culture, ଯେମିତି ମୁଁ କିଛି ସମୟ ଆଗରୁ କହୁଥିଲି ପିଲେ agrarian society କଥା ଆଉ କହୁଥିଲି industrial social society କଥା, their cultural context actually differ. Their pattern of choice, their job preference, their attitudes actually changes basing upon the cultural context. ଯୋଉ society ରେ ସେମାନେ ଜନ୍ମ ହେଇଥିବେ ସେଭଳି society ସହିତ ସେମାନେ acquainted ହେଇଥିବେ, their culture affect the process of learning. ବୁଝିଲା, ଜାପାନରେ ଯୋଉ ପିଲା ଜନ୍ମ ହେଇଥିବ, his culture affect his process. ସେମାନେ they will be more industrialist. Okay, they have more inclination towards industry. Okay, but ଯଦି ଆମେ ଚାଇନା କଥା କହିବା କି ଅନ୍ୟ କୌଣସି agrarian society କଥା କହିବା, their culture affect their process of learning. ଠିକ ଅଛି ପିଲେ, ତାପରେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ବଡ ଜିନିଷ ହଉଛି ପିଲେ କଣ ନା value inculcation and learning. Sometimes what happens, the source of values lies in interactive behavior between parents and child affect the process of learning. ଯେମିତି ଆମେ କହିଲେ parents they provide different kind of opportunities for value inculcation, and it is the primary agency which transmit the personal and social values to the child through observation and limited imitation and identification with parent standards, parental warmth and nurturance, and a clear communication about right and wrong, parent modeling style and desired behavior. So these are the various things, various process, various aspects through which a child learns different kind of values, or simply we can say the parents and the members of the society they inculcate values, and these values are very essential as a human being, as a social animal, and those affect the process of learning, those modify the behavior of a learner, behavior of a child. ତେଣୁ different processes are there through which value can be inculcated and learning process can be facilitated. That means parental modeling. As we know, parents children actually believe their parents, so children observe and adopt the behavioral pattern of their parents. They take their parents as their role model, they follow their behavior, their attitude, their different skill, their communication style, they learn everything which affect the process of learning. Verbal interaction is another important thing, discussing, arguing, planning. Okay, so these affect the process of learning. Media exposure is another important thing through which value can be inculcated and the learning process can be facilitated. So another thing, direct experience. Sometimes what happened, students get values from the real life experience of the real life experiences from the family or what we call the community that affect the world. And also students learn from the group, peer group. So importance of peer relationship already we have discussed, that is they help to to redirect the egocentric interest in group in egocentric into the group interest, then provide necessary condition to learn and to accept the points of view. They break down egocentrism and then allow consideration for other perspective, and they also develop the role taking abilities and reciprocal social behavior, and also build different kind of social skill from the group, develop interpersonal relationship, okay, develop social perspective talking style, everything they learn from group. ଯେମିତି ମୁଁ କହିଲି ବିଭିନ୍ନ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି କହୁଛି ଯେ ବହୁତ କଥା ସେମାନେ ଗ୍ରୁପ ରୁ ଶିଖିଥାନ୍ତି, ତେଣୁ ଯୋଉ ଗ୍ରୁପ ଡାଇନାମିଜିମ କୁ that should be exploited by the teacher should use that technique in order to develop different kind of in order to develop different aspect of learning. Okay, then another thing, community resources is another important aspect which affect the process of learning, that is cultural heritage. Cultural heritage means that may be museum, historical monuments, cultural sites, or serve as repository of collective memory that affect the process of learning. Educational institution is also related to community resource. Here we can find science center, libraries, educational institution, educational program. They provide the learning opportunities and facilitate the learning process. Natural environment is another important thing. It is also regarded as a community resources. And natural environment means park, zoo, botanical garden, and other natural areas from where students learn. They get first-hand experience. They get opportunities. Okay. Then social spaces are also there: market, theater, sports venues, community center. They provide exposure, they provide experience, and through interacting in those spaces, a child learns so many things. Okay, so this is about the community resources, or what we call home and environment. If any doubt is there, today I am not going to take your doubts. In next class, I will take your doubt. सो आज जो आउ रहा घंटे ताको आमे अन्य दिन गुड़ारे ताको एडजस्ट करिकिनी सार दवा, ठीक अछि पिले?
Yes, sir.
ओके सर, ओके सर।
ओके, जहाँ डाउट्स रही जेहेतु शॉर्टेज ऑफ टाइम, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू टेक योर डाउट्स, सो प्लीज नोट डाउन, यू कैन आस्क दोस थिंग्स इन योर नेक्स्ट क्लासेस. ओके, थैंक यू टू ऑल. योर नेक्स्ट क्लास विल बी ऑन केबे अछि? नेक्स्ट क्लास सैटरडे अछि बोधे नुह की
सर? हाँ, शनिवार अछि सर।
ओके ओके, सैटरडे फ्रॉम 5 to 7 ना 4 to 6 कर देले सुविधा हबो, और 5 to 7
सर
था.
मैं
आज पर दिस शेड्यूल वी विल गो. ओके ओके ओके.
Class sorry already. Hello. Hello. 10 minutes जानी पड़ेनी. Hello. कौन 6टार क्लास सरीगला ना सर पळैली ना अछंती? केही तो सब तो छाड़ी के पळौचंदी. मु जानी पड़ेनी, मु 10 मिनिट बाहर को जाइतिली. नाइ से कहले कि आउ गुटे क्लास रे आउ जहा रहला कहि दबा, कहि कि पळैले कोन आउरी अछि यूनिट रो 2टा यूनिट अछि ए विषय रो, ए ब्लॉक 2 रो. से तो कहले सैटरडे रे क्लास अछि, कहि कि पळैले सेइथरे एडजस्ट कर दबा. ता मे भी काम थबो किछ. हां हां हां. बाय. बाय बाय.